who are your favorite fighters of all time?
Lomachenko. Muhammad Ali, Mike Tyson.
These are old school legends.
Yes, they are old.
Manny Pacquiao has one of the greatest stories. Tell it once.
He used to swim, I think 2 miles or something, cross the river to get to a place where he could find some food or something.
Exactly.
He'll take a fight where he'll get $1 or $2, then the other guy will get paid double. I think his father died early. His mother used to look after him. He used to sell donuts on the road.
The story of Floyd also inspires me. He has some broken arm, right?
Brittle fingers.
So he can't really hit so hard that he can knock somebody out.
That was the first fight I saw. I still remember the heading. 2000 Kotla Kotlata is the heading of Telugu newspaper about the fight. The number one factor is not the foot. The number one factor is maintaining healthy relationship with the people around. And don't overthink, don't get to a depressive state. Depression leads to a lot of diseases.
Exactly.
Overthinking leads to a lot of diseases.
Exactly. The science behind boxing is completely. For example, hand illa padalsin punch itla padithe ayipayana ikkada. There is a severe injury. There is a concept called kinetic linking. So how does this actually work?
If I'll go to wrestling ground kelta, it is not a situation. It's always what you learn and how refined you learn something will really help you in certain situations. Most probably, most of the time, punches will help you.
Thank you so much, Anna. Thank you for coming and also thank you for establishing a place like BQ. ఎందుకంటే నేను స్టార్టింగ్ మీకు ఒక విషయం చెప్పాలి. స్టార్టింగ్ నాకు బాక్సింగ్ నేర్చుకోవాలి అని ఎంతూజియాజం బాగా పెరిగినప్పుడు నేను స్టార్టెడ్ సర్చింగ్ ఫర్ ప్లేసెస్. మంచి బాక్సింగ్ జిమ్స్ ఏ ఉన్నాయి హైదరాబాద్లో. ఫస్ట్ నాకు వచ్చిన రికమెండేషన్ BQవే స్టార్టింగ్లో. కానీ నాకు ఏమనిపించింది తెలుసా, నేను లోపలికి వెళ్ళి చూసి ద వే ఇట్ ఈస్ డిజైన్ కంప్లీట్లీ చూసి నాకు ఏమనిపించింది అంటే ఇది చాలా కాస్ట్లీ అఫేర్ ఏమో, మనతో అవ్వదేమో అని చెప్పి ఐ రిఫ్యూజ్. ఆ తర్వాత కొండాపూర్లో ఒక వేరే అకాడమీ ఉంటే జాయిన్ అయ్యాను. ఆ తర్వాత మీ దగ్గరికి వచ్చాక నాకు అర్థమైంది ఏంటంటే యు గైస్ ఆర్ వెరీ మచ్ అఫోర్డబుల్ అని. బిగ్ బ్యాంగ్ బాక్సింగ్ కదా BQ అంటే. సో ఈ టైటిల్ ఎవరు పెట్టారు మీ ఇద్దరు?
Big Bang and a word is I've been using it for a very long time. But BQ does boxing entity. We both sat down and came up with the name BQ.
Okay. So starting నుంచి అసలు ఈ స్టోరీ ఏంటన్నా ఒకసారి చెప్తారు. How did it start this journey?
We started in a very small garage. There is a small garage place where they'll also teach yoga.
Yoga?
Yeah.
Okay.
అక్కడ మేము కామన్ స్పేస్ లా తీసుకున్నాం అన్నమాట. So initially that's a very small place. 16 Vasanta Emerald అని in Madhapur, look gated community. Inside the community, Harsha has a contact and he met somewhere, British Council akkada he has a contact. He said, why don't you try to space, we had some space. So akkada we started first initially. Before actually our plan is to go boxing events actually.
Boxing events? Okay.
Like pro boxing fights. So then we thought, why don't we start boxing gym along with it? Inka anta evolve avaledu pro boxing in India. First we need to tell what boxing is and how it happened. So ala start this actually.
సో అప్పుడు బాక్సింగ్ ఇంత అవేర్నెస్ ఉండేది కాదు కదా, మీకు టఫ్ అవ్వలేదు ఇనీషియల్గా?
It is very hard to find a really good boxing
coaches.
Yeah, very fortunate that we met the finest coach of our country. Chiranjeevi Mani sir, he's the best our country had. Most knowledgeable coach in our country. Any boxing student or any boxing guy whoever competed in nationals or international matches, he's a former national chief coach. He has a record for most medals.
So I never discussed on board.
I basically saw somebody on online. Andhra state president I've been searching. I've known Jairam Reddy sir. He is part of the Danko
Language.
So I'm contacted. So I called him up. I told him I've come back from the UK. I'm trying to get into pro boxing events. So where do I start with? I need some information. I want to talk to you. And he said, okay, you come down to Hyderabad. Back then, I've hometown, Vijayawada.
This is your hometown.
Hometown.
This is your. Okay.
This is Tirala.
Chirala. Okay. Okay.
So from there, I called him up. I said, I'm coming. Then I stayed at one of hotel there. Then he sent his car. Along with the car, the car picked up Chiranjeev sir first. And Chiranjeev sir, along with the car, has come down to pick me up.
Right.
So that's why I have absolutely no clue about it. Chiranjeev sir ever has boxing for someone who
Okay.
So he took me through, and he's if you meet him, you'll know he is very. He'll be on a free floor. There's no limit for his topic to talk. So we just keep talking throughout. So like that, then he wanted to. Then I told him I'm coming after a very long time to Hyderabad. He said, "Actually, I'll show you the whole Hyderabad." And the car he derouted it. The high-tech city, ఆ building, ఇట్లా మారిపోయిందని he took me on.
హైదరాబాద్ అంతా తిరిగి చూస్తున్నారు మీరు ఆయనతో. వాట్ హ్యాపెండ్?
So చూపించి finally he took us to Nankoil's office. అక్కడ జయరాం రెడ్డి సార్. So I still wanted to meet Jairam Reddy sir. I don't know who is this person. So అక్కడ తీసుకెళ్ళిన తర్వాత మాట్లాడుతున్నా. So వచ్చాను, I wanted to start this. First thing he told us, ఎందుకు టైం వేస్ట్ చేస్తున్నావు, ఇక్కడ ఏం జరగదు, మీ పేరెంట్స్ ఏం చేస్తున్నారు, నువ్వు ఇట్లా ఇవన్నీ బాక్సింగ్ అన్ని తిరుగుతుంటే గో డూ సమ్ జాబ్ అంటూ చెప్పారు అన్నమాట.
ఓకే.
I didn't understand. నేను అక్కడ నుంచి విజయవాడ నుంచి I came down just to meet him. ఇట్లా మొత్తం నేటి చెప్పారు నాకు కావాల్సిన ఇన్ఫర్మేషన్. I understand a lot of people I met. Already I spoke on the phone. Discouraging గా ఉంటారు కానీ, but I thought okay fine, at least some information pull out. Yes, I can use it somewhere అనుకున్నాను. He didn't give any information. పక్కనే but he was quiet గా Chiranjeev sir was sitting just observing what I'm talking to him and what is getting. At the end he took the conversation up and లేదు, we have to encourage kids like this who come into boxing. Hardly ఇప్పుడు దాకా ఎవరు రాలేదు బాక్సింగ్ లోకి, మీరు ఇట్లా ఎందుకు అంటారు, కమ్ అని చెప్పి ఆయన తీసుకెళ్ళిపోయి then I got to know who he actually is.
Okay.
So he said, I'll help you, you tell what you want అన్నట్టు. Then అప్పుడు జయరాం రెడ్డి సార్ told he is India's former national chief coach, Mr. Chiranjeev Mani. Then I was glad I met him. So that's how then he started calling me to his house. Shake Pet, you call it out.
Right.
They gave me all input, some contacts which I know. So how to contact people in Pune. Then I went to meet people in Pune. The IPC chairman right now is Mr. Brigadier Raja. So he connected me to that. I flew down to Pune. I met him at his office, he and his son. Because pro boxing, we didn't have councils. Unlike abroad, you have WBC, WBO, Atlantic, regulatory bodies. We didn't have in India. We had amateur bodies in India, but we didn't have a pro. So there's only one or two, no one knew them. So current IBC president is president and chairman is Mr. Brigadier Raja. So he gave me that connect, and I thought this is a really good connect. I went down, spoke to them, and how we are planning to promote pro boxing and how I can start pro boxing. Then he everything was new. Even they are trying to figure it out. Even the rules and regulations they're trying to formulate. And slowly there's one more regulation which has come up. Delhi law. These guys were in Pune. Delhi law, someone else started something else.
Right.
IBF or something like that. So this is IBC. I think IBF has started. So back then it's still very niche. Boxing viewers like out is quite niche. To build the viewers, by the end of the day, any commercial property, as in like entertainment, internet, there are viewers. You'll have some kind of continuity to it, to do the next event. Because as it is, contact sport itself is a very niche sport in India. It's still in the developing, popularity phase is still have to take another few more years. So back then in 2015 when I met him, so it was quite low. There's nothing
No
much
clue.
happening. There are no events happening. They're also looking for promoters like me who want to come and promote boxing.
Right.
So at that time, to do an event, it's a costly affair. Even now, it's a costly affair because you need to fund the event itself, right from flights, accommodation, and different other things. So that's we had to think over etlaga aim chedamani. In that way, it didn't really kick off because you need a sponsor, you need partners. Okay, event days, it's not the end of it. You need to do a continuity event. So there's a lot of things involved. So somehow I came back to Hyderabad. I did my try. That's when even Vijayawada I did my try. So that's when Harish and all were still studying.
Okay.
University. So a few other friends, me, Harish, a few more boxing friends we used to have. So I used to ask them, come, I'll prefer interview. We used to involve them also in part of the sponsorship. I've made few letters to pitch into companies.
Funding also.
Yeah, fun. Just like sponsor to partner. So I did everything that's possible.
Okay.
And figured out this is not the ideal time and ideal. You need to have a very proper plan how to do the next third event. So I'll start back, and that's when the idea of boxing. So anyway, I've been working on boxing, and Harish was planning to go to US. So at that stage, we put a proposal. Say, okay, anyway, I'm into this. If you're interested, why don't we start something in boxing fitness line? So I have something, and then we both together we started BQ. Then Harish called off his US trip. He's very keen on boxing, so he stick to BQ. Atlaga things have flown, and that's how we came up with boxing. In 2016, nunchi obviously we started with a smaller gym. Like you're asking, to do boxing fitness, kickboxing was familiar. There's a lot of people who do kickboxing, but at the same time, same gym coach, gym trainer, they learn bits and pieces of kicks and punching. So atla నేర్చుకుని there only same coach weight training నేర్పిస్తాడు, karate, kickboxing, everything. That's how the scene was in Hyderabad, in fact most of the country.
Right.
So but for us, when we came up, we were portraying it as a very specialized boxing and boxing fitness.
Right.
So not as kickboxing. That was again a challenge. People were no one's done boxing fitness as such. Kickboxing ante kick chesi alisipotaru ane fitness funda is already in the market by then. But మేము వచ్చి boxing అన్నప్పుడు we struggled people to catch up to it and to understand. And మా జిమ్ లో when we put up the first gym, నా ఇంట్లో ఒక పంచింగ్ బ్యాగ్, హరీష్ ఇంట్లో ఒక పంచింగ్ బ్యాగ్ వచ్చి 2 punching bags we put in. When you come to the place, it's empty place with 2 punching bags. So people ki idea of boxing or boxing fitness didn't click in immediately. Just looking at this place, 2 punching bags, what are these guys going to teach? So it started very funny, but we did everything, leafleting at D-Mart supermarkets, akkada nunchi.
Okay.
First.
It's interesting. Okay.
Because we understood that we have to talk to people to make them understand. So what exactly we're trying to do and what is our background. Just leafleting also didn't work. So we thought we'll stand ourselves and we'll talk to people if whoever is interested. So at like we pulled in few people to come in, and our first student or member whoever enrolled, we only had one member almost for a month. So we both used to come down to that facility only to tease that fellow. So how can I?
Is he still with you?
No, he moved on. I mean, he's all our IT employees. He's come from fitness.
Fitness.
So he's not a student. He's a fitness. Someone who's come from fitness. So Tanu, he wanted to do some boxing fitness. He wanted to learn some skill. So that's what we're promoting. We are not, because if we start promoting pure boxing, who wants to go for competitions, interest are takku mandilo. So that's not somewhere we can sustain. Only as pettukunte we will not be able to pay salaries or whatever in future. So we started to do something called boxing fitness, and that should be our commercial part of it. So he finally realized, and he's the only one for 1 month. Memiddara vachi, we used to sit down only. Satyam.
Satyam.
So we
Probably
used to
lucky
tease
as
her.
well.
Yeah, so we both used to tease him. And then slowly we started to gather more people, do some social media marketing. Word of mouth was the major.
Yes. People who joined the quality and how good we teach. Mouth publicity mostly. There's someone telling, yeah, they're teaching really good.
సో స్టార్టింగ్ మీరు డిమార్ట్స్ ముందు అక్కడెక్కడ పీపుల్ కలిసారని చెప్పారు కదా, అక్కడి నుంచి రెస్పాన్స్ వచ్చిందా మీకు?
Yeah, definitely. People who walked in to try.
See, when we used to go by 10 o'clock, when we are going back to our places, we find someone in joggers or any fitness dress. We'll stop there, we'll give them the leaflet, we'll explain everything we did that. Harsha used to take a U-turn to reach someone if he misses. I think I found someone in the last street. Just ready, you take a U-turn, go to them. If they're walking, they are into fitness. They are so just to let them know there is a place where we could teach walking.
That's the zeal, man. That's the zeal.
Because we already were in a community, and it's a villa. We were in villa, one of the villa basement. They had a garage and a basement for a villa. So it's not a commercial place. We don't have a board. So any months people around Pakka buildings, they didn't have no clue that we existed there. So we thought we have to do something to crack this. Anyone in sports shoes or sportswear or walking, anything.
This is wonderful, man. మీకు విషయం చెప్పాలా, ది సైకిల్ అగరబత్తి ఐడియా ఉందా మీకు? సైకిల్ అగరబత్తి, ద ఓనర్ ఆఫ్ సైకిల్ అగరబత్తి డిడ్ సంథింగ్ వెరీ సిమిలర్. మీరు చేసిందే. ఏం చేసేవాడు తెలుసా ఆయన? కస్టమర్స్ కోసము ఏదైతే ఎగ్జిస్టింగ్ రిటైల్ స్టోర్స్ ఉంటాయి కదా, దాని ముందుకెళ్ళి ఆయన ఫ్లేవర్డ్ స్టిక్స్ ని వెలిగించి వచ్చేవాడు. That's what he did. That is how we got customers. I mean, that's a zeal, yeah. So అలా కలిసి అందరినీ తీసుకొని వచ్చి ఇప్పుడు ఒక ప్రాపర్ గా ఎంత మంది సెట్ అయ్యారు మీకు? ఒక 1 year లో how many students did you have?
We have over 800.
800?
Yes. So
but space ఎలా సరిపోయింది మీకు?
But like any other fitness, any other fitness people don't, and especially the kind of market makunadi, they all are IT employees. So few people, they come, stay there here, or their timings is our timing is spread throughout. Morning 6 to night and the coaches ఉంటారు. So anytime they can come. So all of them will not come at one time. At the same time, these guys will keep moving from place, one city to another. They come here, they'll inquire place or job, they keep moving. And that's the kind of place. Madhapur High Tech City is always a moving crowd. So our enrollments, we have over 800. People tend to come around on a daily basis. We have over around 200 people who come, both morning and evening till evening.
Right.
And
not at that time.
అదే ఇప్పుడు రైట్
ఇప్పుడు
ఇప్పుడు
that time little less, maybe 30
to 40.
సో 1 year లో ఒక 70-100 వరకు ఫిగర్ అవుట్ చేయగలిగారు అనుకుంటా. మైట్ బి.
Yeah.
So online teach చేస్తారా? There is no online.
No, we never taught. Even when COVID lo kuda, we decided we should not get into the online segment. And I personally, what I felt is it's only the hype of COVID and staying indoor has got into fitness, online fitness. But the facilities పెట్టుకునే people will have no motivation to come down. ఇంట్లో కూర్చొని ఒక ఫోన్ ముందు చేసేది, it's only for a very limited time and people will easily stop doing it. So, and at the same time, because it's a skill based activity,
exactly,
you can't really teach skill and correct the posters and some ఏదో ఒక exercise చూపించి 10 times చేయమంటాం. It's different to teaching a combat skill. So we realized we'll not fall in the same crowd of getting online and doing things. We'll wait until things open up. It's not permanent any which way. And so we thought, and we never did online, and we never intend to do online training in the future.
Keeping it real.
Yeah. So people have to come to the facility and
ఇప్పుడు నేను ఒక విషయం క్లియర్ గా మాట్లాడాలి అంటే హిస్టరీ ఆఫ్ బాక్సింగ్ గురించి. లైక్ హౌ డిడ్ ఇట్ యాక్చువల్లీ కమ్ టు ఇండియా? బాక్సింగ్ అనేది కంప్లీట్ ఇండియాకి ఎట్లా వచ్చింది అనేది?
ఫస్ట్ 1949 లో యాక్చువల్లీ ఫస్ట్ ముంబైలో, ఐ డోంట్ రిమెంబర్ ద గైస్ నేమ్, assembled a boxing council in a cricket meeting, board meeting somewhere.
ఓకే
Recently I చూసాను. That guy is, I don't know his name, some cricket council, cricket was already famous.
అవునవును
Bombay first boxing council they started, but it very niche sport. Very few people know that the guys who are into army, navy, or they used to practice it. The first woman who made it really visible to a lot of people is Mary Kom. Everyone knows her. So the first time is the Indian India lo eppudu council form 1949 lo form.
సో అప్పటి నుంచి there are councils coming up.
No.
That's amateur boxing.
Yeah, amateur boxing council.
Okay.
There are very few people who taught and who learned at the time. But mostly refined in around 2000s, 2010s actually, when Mary Kom took it up, then Vijayendra Singh
Right.
took it up. But it was formed in 1949.
సో వీళ్ళ ఆపరేషన్ స్టైల్ ఎలా ఉంటుంది ఎగ్జాక్ట్ గా
Regarding training.
ట్రైనింగ్ అండ్ ఎవ్రీథింగ్.
Training it's a mix of strength and conditioning coach. There should be a good nutritionist for them, and there should be recovery coach. Best athletes you should have everyone supporting. The main thing, the head coach should be really good. So that is the reason recently it is picking up. Even women's boxing is picking up in our country. There are very few really good coaches who will teach you really well. That is the reason most of the time boxing will stick to just UK, US or Cuba, Mexico. Even the styles matter. See, now US is not getting a lot many medals. Cuba will get more medals. Russia will get medals.
The Russians are
Wrestling they'll get more medals, but they should be proper coaches and slowly evolve into better coaches. So that it's always, I'll say, the competitiveness or the people, how many people participate in it determines how good a sport could have worked. That's why if you see boxing still has better numbers than MMA. The reason is most people, if you Google competitive in the sense, more people are practicing it, more people are participating in it than any other combat sports. Boxing after that MMA. Yes, because MMA is evolving now, still evolving. It's been 20 years roughly when it started really evolving around 2010s or something. When GSP, Anderson Silva got. Before that, it's just some karate fighter versus jiu-jitsu fighters. It's random. It's not really evolved a bit. But boxing is there for centuries. It has evolved to its best. So that's why still a lot of people who know boxing or who have a fight knowledge will definitely watch big fights. That's why boxing is still making a lot of numbers. Even though MMA or UFC, they say we will cross boxing, they are still not crossing. They are not even close.
I think it's not possible.
It's very hard.
ఎందుకంటే there are so many legends out there. అంటే ఈ దాన్ని ఏమంటారో తెలియదు. I mean, it is more famous around the normal crowd. Boxing అంటే అందరూ గుర్తుపడతారు. ఇప్పుడు MMA అంటే I don't know ఎంతమంది నాలెడ్జ్ ఉంటుంది అంటే.
First, it was in Olympics in 1638 AD. That was the first 23rd Olympiad, the first time in the Greek that old boxing is.
Even Spartans also used to do these things. వాళ్ళు warfare లో వార్కి వెళ్ళే ముందు they used to practice. Even ఇండియాలో కూడా నేను రీసెంట్ గా చదివాను అనమాట. ఈ ముష్టి యుద్ధం, మల్ల యుద్ధం అని ఈ రెండు కాన్సెప్ట్ ఏదైతే ఉందో, ఈ ముష్టి యుద్ధం ఇస్ వెరీ మచ్ క్లోజ్ టు MMA. వెరీ మచ్ క్లోజ్ టు MMA. అండ్ రెజ్లింగ్ మన ఇండియాలో తెలిసిందే కదా. Can you expand a little bit on wrestling in India?
Wrestling is more prominent in northern part of India actually. More prominent in our country. The basis is from always, the basis is from Kalaripattu. Most martial arts which you hear are the origins are from Kalaripattu, from Kerala. The movie, you know, the
Seven
movie
Sense.
Seven Sense, వచ్చింది కదా, Surya చేస్తుంది. It's not a myth, it's a real story. Still, you have a lot of scriptures which will support the argument that Bauddha Dharma, who is a South Indian,
Exactly.
has traveled to China and started all the martial arts. Then they evolved from there. All the Chinese martial arts which you are hearing now are the origins of our country.
అవును, కలరి పట్టు నుంచి.
Yeah. So wrestling and boxing are the two oldest martial arts. The first ever martial arts. Even Greeks have there in their Olympiad wrestling and boxing. These are the two.
Right.
Since not refined as of now. The main difference, even you say, even this Malayuddham, it's like they'll push each other with the hands. Similar to boxing, actually. So it has evolved from there, from a very long time. It's evolved from there. Roots, there are, if you take the western side, it is from Greek and British. Boxing and wrestling evolved mainly Greek in Greece. Itu mana side aithe actually India and start ayindi, and China took it to the next level. The thing is, they practiced more than our country. That's it. The practitioners there, the Shaolin temples and all, they made it really, what you call, work really well with everyone. Yeah, they made it compulsory for the monks too, and the demonstrators were good. Yes.
And also recent గా నేను ఒక కాన్స్పిరసీ థియరీ చదివాను అన్నమాట.
Okay.
బౌద్ధధర్మ ఫేస్ మనం ఇప్పుడు చూస్తే ఇంటర్నెట్ మీద కానీ స్క్రిప్చర్స్ మీద కానీ చూస్తే ఈ హ్యాస్ సమ్ చైనీస్ లుక్.
Yes.
ఫేస్ కొంచెం చైనీస్ లుక్ ఉంటుంది, కానీ యాక్చువల్ గా అతన్ని ఇండియన్ ఫేసే అంట. దీస్ పీపుల్ మొత్తం చైనా క్రెడిట్ తీసుకోవడానికి దే మేడ్ సమ్ చేంజెస్ ఇన్ హిస్ ఫేస్ అండ్ మేడ్ హిమ్ లుక్ లైక్ చైనీస్. అండ్ ఆల్సో చాలా ప్రాపగండా చేశారు అనమాట బౌద్ధ ధర్మం మీద. అతను చాలా అగ్రెసివ్ అని, అతను ఎప్పుడో ఒకసారి మెడిటేషన్ చేస్తున్నప్పుడు లైక్ సడన్ గా నిద్ర వస్తే ఈ కనురెప్పలు ఉంటాయి కదా, అవి పీకేసుకున్నాడని, ఇలా రకరకాల ప్రాపగండా చేశారు అనమాట. అండ్ దెర్ ఇస్ అనదర్ ఇంట్రెస్టింగ్ స్టోరీ. ఏంటంటే ఎప్పుడైతే ఈ షాలిన్, ఈ మార్షల్ ఆర్ట్స్ ఇవన్నీ చైనాలోకి తీసుకెళ్లడానికి, ఎగ్జాక్ట్ గా వాళ్ళని ట్రైన్ చేయడానికి ఒక మెథడ్, ఒక వే ఫామ్ చేసుకోవడానికి ఆయన దాదాపు 9 years మెడిటేషన్ ఉన్నాడని చెప్తారు. అది ఎంతవరకు నిజం అనేది మనకు తెలియదు, ఎంతవరకు నిజం అనేది తెలియదు, బట్ we have these pictures and everything.
No, obviously once something, it's in their culture, they want to make it there. So there's probably some changes, spatial changes, and
వాళ్ళు చేశారండి. అంటే it makes sense, you know, because this guy is an Indian guy, is looking like Chinese.
That's everywhere. You go to Thailand, Delhi, you see Ganesha. It looks like Thai. Rama and Sita figures. I consume all the faces now. So
okay,
very normal thing. But ideally, what like Harish said, the things have evolved from our subcontinent, Asian subcontinent. And then it evolved up there. So all, like he said, all the roots have come from Kalaripattu.
There are no older scriptures in any culture across the world are more significant in the proof slave. This is the oldest known martial art for the human evolution.
రైట్. అవును, విద్యుత్ జమ్మల్ ప్రాక్టీస్ చేస్తాడు. విద్యుత్ జమ్మల్ అండ్ మన తెలుగులో సుధీర్, మహేష్ బాబు,
సుధీర్ కూడా ప్రాక్టీస్ చేస్తారు.
I mean, it involves a lot of weapons కదా.
Weaponry ఉంటుంది. Then we had normal without weaponry కూడా నేర్పిస్తారు. Along with that, they'll also teach you how to meditate and do yoga. Kalaripattu has it's a really good art. It was not what do you call it? It was not promoted well, but it's a well-rounded art.
Right. So meditation, yoga,
weaponry, and without weapons also combat.
So like complete packaging kada.
Complete packaging.
Okay. So ఇప్పటికి కేరళలో అది ప్రాక్టీసింగ్
very few people but
right. సో అన్న బేసిక్ ఇప్పుడు మార్షల్ ఆర్ట్స్ అండ్ కాంబాట్ స్పోర్ట్స్ దేర్ ఇస్ అ డిఫరెన్స్ కదా.
ఎస్.
సో వాట్ ఎగ్జాక్ట్లీ ఇస్ దట్ డిఫరెన్స్?
కాంబాట్ స్పోర్ట్స్ చాలా మార్షల్ ఆర్ట్స్ నుంచి డిరైవ్ అయినాయి. బేసిక్ గా కాంబాట్ స్పోర్ట్స్ కి మార్షల్ ఆర్ట్ కి మెయిన్ డిఫరెన్స్ ఎక్కడ వస్తుందంటే, కాంబాట్ స్పోర్ట్స్ ఆర్ విల్ హ్యావ్ టోర్నమెంట్స్, competition between people. There is always a real good factor if you have a chance to choose combat sports over martial arts, because they are less practical. Martial arts are less practical because they'll practice for self-defense,
right?
But they don't practice as much as combat sport athletes, and they don't push on endurance. That's why you will have the difference is if Dozo is providing you belts without anything, okay, if you pay some money, make belt ostundi, next team coat ostundi, then they are not actually practicing it properly, earning it. So you pay some money, 6 months, you will get this belt, next this belt, this belt.
Seriously, double it on the belts.
Every belt will pay some money because I did karate first at my when I was 6th class, 7th class, నేను చేశాను. Then once I did boxing, then I realized that is where you will see, you will practice with the real opponent properly, and it's not and combat sports will push on your endurance and your ability to think and all with a very high intense factor. It will push on your endurance. Martial art, you will see, as most of, even if they have combat, how good the combat will be. Once they touch each other like this or kick like this, they'll stop,
they'll be separated.
Yeah. So they don't know the next phase.
Right.
When you get damaged, how to react and all, they don't know. That's why if you Google any combat sport versus martial art, what happens is the martial art guy don't know how to react when he get hit. He'll try to avoid the damage, he'll do this. But the combat sport athletes knows how to react. That is the main difference. They'll have tournaments. They're not just practicing it to show or to teach. They're practicing it to compete. Tournaments, even. So combat sports are more practical, more usable, and more useful for common people than martial arts, for sure. If you have a chance to choose combat sports. They are practical. You will get to know how to really self-defend yourself when some situation happens. Unlike martial arts, they provide all the bills, and a lot of people who got a lot of bills, but there's no practicality behind it.
నాకు ఇప్పుడు అర్థమైంది సరిగ్గా అకాడమీలు ఎందుకు లేవు హైదరాబాద్ లో అనేది. సో డబ్బులు పెట్టుకో.
You see a lot of academies who are promoting that, but they are not recognized. Why they are not Olympic sport? There is no progression from there. They get all the belts. There's nothing because you're not competing. Most people don't know. I have a black belt, I have a green belt, I have a red belt. That's it. There is nothing from there. If you say boxing or if you say BJJ, wrestling, you have competition. There is a level for no matter what your age is, you need to compete. State, district, state, you need to win the state. Well, then you need national. Once you win national, then there is internationals. That is where you will see what you know. Most martial arts will block that view.
యాక్చువల్లీ జోరోగన్ షోలో ఒకటి చూసాను అనమాట. సేయింగ్ ఒక 3 years ఎక్స్టెన్సివ్ ప్రాక్టీస్ చేసిన ఒక మార్షల్ ఆర్ట్స్ గై చాలా ఈజీగా ఒక 6-8 months విగరస్ ప్రాక్టీస్ చేసిన బాక్సింగ్ ఒకటి ఓడిపోతాను. ఈ కాంట్ గెట్ ఇన్ క్లోజ్. దట్స్ వాట్ హీ సెడ్. ఐ మీన్ యా, బాక్సింగ్ ట్రైనింగ్ అనేది ఎవరన్నా స్టార్ట్ చేయాలనుకున్నప్పుడు somebody who wants to learn boxing, what is the first thing they need to do?
If they're very interested, I think they'll have to first search for a authentic boxing training facility.
Yeah, don't go for some
random gym or YouTube videos will not help. They'll only end up injuring their
Yes.
Because lucky to punch a bag, put a bag up in house, and punching it is quite easy. But having said that, you'll only get into injuries because of lack of form, the mechanics of the punches. So I think first thing they'll have to do is find a
good gym, boxing gym.
Yeah.
Because most YouTube videos, the guys who are making those videos are learning or just got into it. So you don't get to practice much or you don't get much out of it. And you will hurt yourself if you're practicing by yourself.
Very badly.
Very badly. That's why find a really good gym, find a really good coaches. Then you'll get to know what you learn in 1 or 2 years online. A good coach will teach you in 1-2 months. Yes, find a good gym, find a good coach, then go with it.
And exactly, ఏంటంటే the science behind boxing is completely different కదా. అంటే when ఇంట్లో కూర్చొని మనం బాక్సింగ్ ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ హ్యాండ్ ఇలా పడాల్సిన పంచ్ ఇట్లా పడితే అయిపోయాను నాకు ఇక్కడ దర్ ఇస్ అ సివియర్ ఇంజరీ. సో దర్ ఇస్ అ కాన్సెప్ట్ కాల్డ్ కైనెటిక్ లింకింగ్ కదా, వేర్ మీ బాడీ టిప్ ఆఫ్ ద టో నుంచి ఉన్న ఎనర్జీ మొత్తాన్ని యూ గెట్ ఇట్ ఇన్ టు అ పంచ్. సో హౌ డస్ దిస్ యాక్చువల్లీ వర్క్?
See, like we said, you know Bruce Lee's famous quote. This one. I'll not fear the man who practices 10,000 kicks. I'll fear the man who practices
one kick for
10,000 times. Alage, when a common guy who is not into completely competing and all, just want to learn something to defend himself. It's always what you learn and how refined you learn something will really help you in certain situations. Most probably, most of the time, punches will help you. If I will go to wrestling ground, it is not a situation. If you learn how to throw good punches, if you have good enough time to learn kicks like really good expert, then you can try anything. But if you have limited time, I just want to learn self-defense, boxing is the best thing you could go to.
Exactly.
Because in 2 months, you will get good with punches. You'll be really able to defend yourself. Even if you Google or search in YouTube for street fights, all the videos you find, the guy doing really defensively well is throwing punches and moving well with his feet. Because sometimes if you miss a kick, you will go off balance, you will go down. There's a good chance they'll hit you back once you come. So most probably for street fighting, or if you want to learn self-defense, boxing is the best thing you could do. Okay, don't watch some self-defense videos. I'll overpower man, turn him around. It won't work in real world.
Real time scenarios.
Yeah.
చాలా ఫన్నీ ఉంటాయి వీడియోస్, నవ్వుకుంటున్నాను.
Yes, all those videos you'll find self-defense will మీరు చూసే వీడియోస్ లో the more complicate you make it, మీకేమి గుర్తుండదు ఆ సిచ్యువేషన్స్ లో, in that intense situation you'll end up hurting yourself. The best thing you could do, just learn punches, because no matter how muscular, bulkier a guy is, if you punch really fast with the hands, you'll have time to escape. Don't overpower him or do some trying to overpower him. The main thing is to escape or self-defend. So punches are the best thing you could learn, and you have very limited time. Boxing is a go-to thing. You could defend yourself properly.
అండ్ ఆల్సో ఈ కిక్స్ గురించి మనం మాట్లాడుకుంటే ఈ కిక్ బాక్సింగ్ అని వాట్ ఎవర్ ఇట్ ఈస్, ఇట్ డజంట్ హెల్ప్ ఇన్ రియల్ టైమ్. ఎందుకంటే ఇప్పుడు మెజారిటీ ఆఫ్ ద టైమ్స్ మనం జీన్స్ ప్యాంట్ వేసుకుని ఉంటాము, అండ్ హౌ కెన్ వి యాక్చువల్లీ కిక్ ఇన్ జీన్స్ ప్యాంట్? పడిపోతాం ఈజీగా.
There are a lot of factors: surface, water, sand.
Exactly.
So there are a lot of factors. That's why for a regular guy who just want to keep his heart healthy with good cardiovascular endurance along with some strength, boxing is go-to thing.
యాక్చువల్లీ ఐఎమ్ అబౌట్ టు కమ్ టు దట్. ఇప్పుడు బాక్సింగ్ ప్రాక్టీస్ చేసే వాళ్ళని మనం చూస్తే, ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ జిమ్ చేసే వాళ్ళని ఒక సైడ్, బాక్సింగ్ చేసే వాళ్ళని ఒక సైడ్ చూస్తే, దీస్ పీపుల్ విల్ డూ రియలీ వెల్ ఇన్ దేర్ లైఫ్స్. బాక్సింగ్ వల్ల వాళ్ళ ఫోకస్ పెరగడం కానీ, కాన్సన్ట్రేషన్ పెరగడం కానీ. సో మీరు చూసిన చేంజెస్ ఇన్ మీ స్టూడెంట్స్ లో వాట్ ఎవర్, దిస్ ఈస్ గుడ్ చేంజెస్?
It's a part of, like you said, it's a part of martial art. You inculcate a lot of discipline, like any other thing. So, and it's quite intense. Your cardio is good, unlike regular gym. So you're not here to. Regular gym is basically trying to showpiece your body, trying to build strength. Obviously, build strength, but it's more on how good your body looks. But if you compare it to any athlete in martial arts or boxing, you'll never be able to know that this guy knows boxing or in martial arts. zero clue. You'll never be able to tell. They'll look as lean, or you will not see the muscles which the bulkiness under those. And so that's a complete difference between a regular doing fitness, a regular fitness or gym for 1 year. It's completely different to if they do any boxing or any martial
1 year ఒకళ్ళు బాక్సింగ్ కరెక్ట్ చేశారంటే అది హ్యూమన్ ఎవల్యూషన్ అంటే నేనైతే సీరియస్లీ. ఎందుకంటే వన్స్ ఆ డిసిప్లిన్ అలవాటు అయితే, వన్స్ ఆ హెల్దీ లైఫ్ స్టైల్ అలవాటు అయితే వాళ్ళ లైఫ్ లో చాలా చేంజెస్ వస్తాయి. ఐ మీన్ వాళ్ళ వర్క్ స్పేస్ బెటర్ అవుతుంది, వాళ్ళ థింకింగ్ క్లియర్ అవుతుంది అనే ఎవ్రీథింగ్. ఐ మీన్ అండ్ నో offense to anybody కానీ జిమ్ ఈస్ ది మోస్ట్ బోరింగ్ థింగ్ ఫర్ మీ పర్సనలీ. అని వెళ్ళి ఐ డోంట్ నో, ఐ గెట్ ఈజీలీ బోర్డ్ మ్యాన్. జిమ్కి వెళ్తే నాకైతే ఒక 2-3 weeks లోనే I get really bored.
Very few people stick on to.
Yeah, very few people. Yeah.
Unless they have very keen interest in strength training and
even they want to learn boxing. They'll have in the back of their mind. We have a lot of trainers from other gyms come to our gym to just learn boxing and so that they could provide it to their clients. We have a lot of trainers. Even now we have some 11 or 12 trainers who from other gyms comes to our gym to learn boxing.
Okay.
Yeah. Main the difference is mental ga enta difference vastundante why boxing chesinappudu what happens is you'll become more confident first.
Right.
And the thing is, whenever you are doing boxing, whenever you're hitting the bag, you are releasing dopamine every time you hit the bag. What happens with the dopamine release? You'll become more calmer. You'll become more happier. Your sleep will improve. It doesn't happen with a lot of activities.
Sleep, yeah.
Because and why you become confident is at worst in a physical, at worst in any altercation, it'll go physical between two people. So you are doing it on a regular basis. Regular people is the problem. Stressed out, you'll be least bothered after you've done boxing, because this is nothing
compared to boxing.
Yeah, worst case happens, you'll be more confident. Yeah, altercation and they'll shout, they'll have that. Andukane you have this thing called white collar boxing. White collar boxing. White collar boxing in the sense of corporates who are doing jobs for a long time, they'll get stressed out and all because they can't burst out the anger on their boss or something. So they'll have what usually they do is they'll organize some night or evening where they'll spar each other with full gear, so that to relieve the stress and all. And other thing they'll do is the counselor will let them go to the best anger state, which will help you go who is doing this to you. If your boss, your colleague who is doing this, then with that elevated anger, he'll let him punch the bag where their photo is projected on the bag in a dark room. He'll give the glove to this guy. So the next day, what happens? They even if they're shouting to you, you'll feel relaxed. So there's a concept called white collar boxing. Even our clients, they'll feel, they talk to us, they'll tell us, after started boxing, nothing changed, but I'm feeling more happier, comfortable.
Exactly.
Na workspace lo jarige vatini I don't even bother much about them. I'm feeling more confident, very comfortable, peace of mind only. Most corporate, my clients under cheppe first thing ade. We are feeling more balanced. More because our rage వాళ్ళు ఎక్కడ ఉంచుకున్న రేజ్ ఏమవుతుందంటే they project on someone. బాస్ మీద చేసింది వాళ్ళ మదర్ మీద ఫాదర్ మీద అట్లా. That is why it will change a lot mentally. Boxing.
Basically, if you want to start boxing at home, for example, shadow boxing help cheyada manaki, doesn't it?
Help chestadi. The thing is, the more wrong things you do, they'll become your habit.
Yes.
So at any cost, first 2 or 3 months, go to a really good gym, learn from them. Then even if you don't have access after that, or make your time and spend 3 months in a good gym and coach the coach. Once you get those basics, you practice at home and all, you take inputs from that gym and all, that is fine. But first, initially, the more wrong things you do, they'll become your muscle memory.
Yeah.
And it's difficult to unlearn it and learn it again. So might as well learn the right way.
Yes.
Right. సో అన్న బేసిక్ గా బాక్సింగ్ ప్రాక్టీస్ చేస్తారు కదా, సో హౌ వాట్ డస్ ఇట్ యాక్చువల్లీ ఇన్వాల్వ్? ఇప్పుడు అమెచ్యూర్స్ దగ్గర నుంచి ప్రో లెవెల్ బాక్సింగ్ వరకు ఆ డిఫరెన్షియేషన్ ఎలా ఉంటుంది?
ఓకే, ఫస్ట్ బిగినర్స్ అయితే దిల్ స్పెండ్ గుడ్ 1.5 hour టెక్నిక్. ఇనిషియల్లీ మామూలుగా వాళ్ళని ఎండ్యూరెన్స్ వైజ్ ఆర్ పవర్ వైజ్, స్పీడ్ వైజ్ నాట్ పుష్ ఆన్ ఇట్, because that is also the very big mistake. Intentionally తెలియకుండానే they'll try to hit harder or faster. Initially you shouldn't do that mistake. You should focus on technique, right? Whether you're turning good, whether your foot is in the right place, whether you're clenching the fist right. You should focus more on technique, mechanics. ఇందాక నువ్వు ప్రిఫర్ చేసావు కదా కైనెటిక్
లింకింగ్,
అదంతా కైనెటిక్ లింకింగ్ కరెక్ట్ గా ఉందా, ఐఎమ్ ప్రొడ్యూసింగ్ మై బెస్ట్ పవర్ ఆర్ నాట్. యూ షుడ్ చెక్ దట్. ఫస్ట్ 2-3 months spend good amount of time on technique. Don't push your endurance, don't do a lot of running and all, because that will only minimize your improving your technique. అది minimize చేస్తుంది. So focus more on technique. How good you should move, how to rotate, how to clinch, how to rise. There are a lot of mechanics involving a punch or a kick, so you need to work really well on the basics. First 3 months is a minimum. Once you get the basics right, so then you will become a decent amateur fighter. Once the basics are good, then how much time you should spend on working out? Amateur is roughly 2 hours, 3 hours spend a day. Good amateur, if you want to compete, 2-3 hours every day spend here. For most days 5 or 6 days, possibly 1 hour, 1.5 hour on boxing, 40 minutes or 45 minutes on conditioning. Then you will have one more hour for active workout like running. There will be agility workouts which will support boxing only. The technical boxing part, the strength and conditioning part, and explosive conditioning workouts, agility part. So you should break it down like this. For decent national participation, or if you want to compete, this is a minimum. If you say a little advanced, they'll take care of everything, recovery, sleep. There are a lot of aspects coming in. So let's say if a pro boxer at world class, how long he'll train? He'll train approximately 6 to 8 hours every day, most days. Sometimes there are pro boxers who doesn't take break on Sunday also. They'll at least have workout even on Sundays.
Right.
Because it's a very lonely sport. The more dedicated you are, the better heights you will reach.
Okay. So basically conditioning అనేది స్టార్టింగ్ నుంచి స్టార్ట్ చేస్తారా?
Not necessarily. See, explosiveness kosam, agility kosam will include few. Ladder cones ఉంటాయి. You might have seen online. They'll improve your foot speed.
Right.
మేము kids కి mainly అది నేర్పిస్తాం. So kids కి you shouldn't push on technique because they learn more from watching than listening to you. So first బాడీని కొంచెం ఎక్స్ప్లోజివ్ గా తయారు. That's why we have special program for kids where they'll do a lot of agility, core strengthening, then we'll teach boxing properly. So మాకు వచ్చిన కిడ్స్ పేరెంట్స్ ఇన్పుట్స్ మొత్తం అంతే అనమాట. దే బికేమ్ మోర్ ఎక్స్ప్లోజివ్, దే ఆర్ మోర్ రియాక్టివ్. బాగా వాళ్ళ రిఫ్లెక్సెస్ ఇంప్రూవ్ అవుతాయి.
Yes.
That is more important.
Yes.
If once they become good with sprinting and all sprinting and these small conditioning workouts, agility workouts we do, they say they're winning most competitions with other kids because other kids are just trying to study all the time.
Right.
So మా kids కి మేము మొత్తం ఓన్లీ ప్యూర్ బాక్సింగ్ టీచ్ చేయం. We'll work on conditioning part little bit, then agility part ఉంటుంది where they'll move a lot, sprint a lot, and then they'll have boxing. So it's not just boxing. Okay. So a lot of kids they'll come to improve their athletic ability.
Yeah. And also చిన్నప్పటి నుంచి చేయడం వల్ల there is a lot of advantage.
main
Okay.
advantage. Most countries will give their kids or teens good amount of time and space so that they could pursue something physically. ఇండియాలో చాలా తక్కువ టైం స్పెండ్ చేస్తారు. దట్ ఈస్ ద రీజన్ వై వీ హ్యావ్ వెరీ ఫ్యూ అథ్లీట్స్ ఇన్ మోస్ట్ స్పోర్ట్స్,
ఎస్పెషల్లీ స్కూల్స్ మ్యాన్.
Slow, it's changing, but
Yeah.
still we are way behind.
Oh.
All the modern schools are all focusing on sports as well.
Yeah. It's very important. I mean, ఇది వచ్చేసరికి ఒకప్పుడు ఇండియన్స్ యూస్ టు బి మినిమం 6'2", 6'3" హైట్ అండ్ ఐ మీన్ నౌ వీఆర్ 5'8", 5'9" వచ్చేసింది అది. సో ఐ థింక్ మెయిన్లీ ఆ టీనేజ్ లో అది ఉంటేనే కదా వాళ్ళ బాడీ.
Physical activity is very
యా అండ్ ఆల్సో సో వాట్ ఈస్ ది ఐడియల్ డైట్ అన్న? ఇప్పుడు ఐడియల్ డైట్ ఎట్లా ఉంటుంది బాక్సింగ్ చేసే వాళ్ళకి?
Ideal diet as like any athlete, there's no I mean the difference to any other athlete. So any athlete needs a lot of explosive strength, they need to have endurance, they need to have flexibility, speed, agility. All these aspects and especially in boxing or any other contact sport, you have a lot of mental sharpness. You need to be very aware of what's happening coming at you or nothing. So you very similar athletic diet. So regular athletic diet is what we recommend. Especially me and Harish, Harish looks after the animal based, meat, which includes animal products. And I tend to focus more on plant based diet.
The difference is clear there.
Because we can't regularly, even we both eat meat, and we both understand how important it is plant-based diet. So it comes down to what personal preference the student or a member is into. So some athlete is pure vegetarian. We can't recommend him eat eggs and meat. So someone is keen on been eating a lot of meat throughout his life. So we can't suddenly tell, you don't eat meat from today, tomorrow you only have to eat plant-based food.
Okay.
It's not feasible, but somewhere down the line we tend to, regardless whatever diet we talk about, we make sure it's a whole nutrition. Instead of just focusing on protein, instead of just focusing on fiber or things like that. So obviously we tend to build a diet chart or a diet program where it involves right from their minerals, electrolytes, salts, vitamins, amino acids, whatever is required to be a very full-fledged athlete. So we tend to, apart from your macros like your fiber, protein, sugars, carbs, kakunda. So what else they have to supplement it with? And we both tend to promote only natural form of any kind of these nutrition. So to them, most of it. Somewhere they're not able to acquire it through natural form. If it's not feasible, only then we tend to tell them these are the sources you can get them through supplements. But otherwise, we are, in fact, BCube is we can call BCube is the only fitness brand in Hyderabad who doesn't promote processed, proteins, processed food. So in fact, a lot of gyms make a lot of money on protein tubs.
Right.
They have around 40 to 60% margins on their So you put up few tubs at the counter. Obviously, some coach, if it's coming from a head coach, when you take this is good. The guy will do whatever to buy it and have it. We've had our ground rules or ethics saying that we don't want to push on processed food at least. So we've been strict on it. So everything, whatever we advocate to eat or this is the lifestyle you have to follow, it all comes through natural sources. What we can gain through natural, let it be plant-based or animal-based food. Natural source is the most ideal way is what we can. But coming down to athletes, they'll have to be more specific and put onto regular people. Okay, week if you miss few vitamins or forgot about electrolytes or salts, okay, next week you can build it up. But because an athlete is working out on a daily basis, sweating out heavily, profusely, they tend to lose out these salts and electrolytes through the sweat and everything, and their requirement is also high.
Right.
All these macros and micros, the requirement is also high. So they have to be a little more careful on and more precise on how much they're eating and what they're eating. Not on the aspects of eating to the highest level, aspects of not being deficient of any of these.
Right.
That's more important because it very much helps in their recovery, so performance, agility, right from your ligaments to joints, everything. So if any of these are in a deficient, proportion, they'll have signs of injuries or recovery problems or muscle catches or soreness. So it's for an athlete especially, they have to be really focused on nutrition.
సో యాక్చువల్లీ నేను ఒకటి విన్నాను ఏంటంటే వెన్ కంపేర్ టు animal based diet, vegetarian diet or vegan diet might help more అనేది. Is that true?
It's vegetable diet or vegan diet is a little extreme. So right now because we're in a transition of changing from centuries of at least a century old this plant based is much superior diet. Now we're in transition of changing it to this plant based diet. Right. So vegan in this situation, we feel it's a little too extreme. Cutting down on honey and anything which have contact with animals is part of vegan. But plant-based diet, because it's a lot of these new game changers, a lot of Netflix game changer. This one episode I think has come up. There's a lot of people who are trying to promote Virat Kohli is promoting plant-based diet. Djokovic, the tennis player, VIGNESH, they are part of plant-based diet. I think F1, some guy is also.
Lewis
Hamilton is also.
Okay.
I think he's also.
So even if they are non-vegetarian or vegetarian or plant-based, if you are performing more cardio, in the sense if it's excessively intense sport, you need electrolytes from fruits and vegetables only. So whether you are non-vegetarian or vegetarian, you should eat vegetables and fruits, if possibly nuts and seeds.
Right.
Then only you'll be able to recover faster, you'll get better sleep from these micronutrients. Okay, so there is a supportive argument for veganism is good. There is supportive argument for this good. So people are stating unknown as obvious. They think this is good. They're telling it obvious because there are no completely profound researches that supports this is good, this is good. Because there are people who eat non-veg and they crossed 100. There are people who completely stick to plant-based diet. They've crossed 100. There are a lot of studies on longevity. Right. The people who drink wine still cross 110, 115. The major factor is which most dietitians or the nutritionists will tell you. So most nutritionists and dietitians will get to a place where you should feel comfortable with your stomach when you have something, and you should feel energetic throughout the day, and you should get good sleep. Okay, that is the best way to determine your diet.
Right.
Processed food, outside food ekku tinakunda, if you have it at your home, most it is healthier than most. You are having healthier meal than most people. And I also want to mention longevity factor, means the people who lived longer. If you have a lot of case studies on it, and people there are people who smoke and they crossed 100. There are people who had wine throughout the years, they live longer than 100. So that doesn't mean if you have wine or cigarette you will live longer. There are health complications regarding them. I'm just promoting, the number one factor is not the food. The number one factor is maintaining healthy relationship with the people around. And don't overthink, don't get to a depressive state. The neuroscientists and scientists already have real good proofs and case studies where they state depression leads to a lot of diseases.
Exactly.
Overthinking leads to a lot of diseases.
Exactly.
So the number one factor to live longer is not diet or any other superfood. The number one factor is maintaining good healthy relationship with everyone, being happy most of the time.
Right.
The second factor is activity. More
Hmm.
than diet, you should move more. You should do some activity. If you're physically active, your joints are healthier. If there is no blood flow, if you're sitting for long hours somewhere, then you'll get a lot of diseases or joint problems. People tend to get unhealthy when they stop moving.
Exactly.
More than diet. The third is diet. So first healthy relationships and being happy most of the time. Then activity, have some activity, move around, do some jog or run. Then the diet. Okay, diet is not number one. If you're not getting good sleep, if you're not maintaining good relationships, if you're overthinking, even if your diet is at your best, you'll get one or the other disease.
Who are your favorite fighters of all time around the globe?
Yes, Manny Pacquiao.
Manny Pacquiao.
Me too. First Manny Pacquiao.
For either की Manny Pacquiao.
Manny
huh?
Pacquiao.
Sure.
Okay, after Manny Pacquiao.
Then we can go up to the new age era. I think it's Lomachenko.
Lomachenko.
And Floyd is also his all-time great.
Muhammad Ali, Mike Tyson.
These are old school legends.
Yes, they are old school legends.
Manny Pacquiao has one of the greatest stories I've heard. I mean,
Yes.
the backstories. Just tell it once. Tell it out once.
He used to swim, I think 2 miles or something, to cross the river to get to a place where he could find some food or something.
Exactly.
He'll take a fight where he'll get some $1 or $2. Then the other guy will get paid double. Then he decides, oh, if I win, I'll get double the money. So then he started training boxing.
Okay. Okay.
His father, I think his father died early. His mother used to look after him. So yeah, he used to sell donuts on the road.
Half-burnt cigarettes.
Yes.
It's an amazing story. I mean, our transition చూసుకోవాలి. And exactly training age లో start చేశారు Pacquiao.
Roughly, I think 12, I think. Because by the time he was 14, he started pro boxing.
Okay.
15 years and
yes.
4 circuits.
Right.
Just out of poverty, there is nothing he could do. That is, fighting is the only option he thought he could do well.
Right.
Yeah. After that also, when throughout his career, he set up records that no one could break. Let's say if people say Floyd 50-0 could be broke, it could be broke. It's not that hard. There are a lot of fighters who are undefeated. They might break 0. But 8 divisions, there is no one even close. There is no 7 division champion. There is no 6 division champion. There are 5 division champions. That's it. To achieve what he achieved. Even now, still he is pursuing his political career. He'll become president of. That is like 3 or 4 people's story combined together. No one could do that.
Exactly.
If he becomes president,
It's like such a
boxing is a national sport.
Yeah. So there are a lot of times we thought that is the end of Pacquiao. We thought we as a fans thought he couldn't come back. He's too old. But he proved us wrong every time.
Yeah.
And you always fight someone who's quite very young, and he beats them up.
Yes. So he took risks more than any other fighter I know. In MMA or boxing. He took more risk than any other fighter. He could have retired way long back.
ఎందుకు ఐఎమ్ సో గ్లాడ్ దట్ యూ కేమ్ అప్ విత్ Pacquiao స్టోరీ. ఎందుకంటే మన ఏపీ తెలంగాణలో తీసుకుంటే ఎస్పెషలీ పీపుల్ సమ్హౌ నో అబౌట్ మైక్ టైసన్ అండ్ మొహమ్మద్ అలీ అండ్ దీస్ పీపుల్, బట్ దెర్ ఆర్ ఫ్యూ పీపుల్ హూ నో అబౌట్ Pacquiao, these fighters. I mean, the next generation fighters.
Yes.
I mean, that story is also amazing, man. And also, the story of Floyd also inspires me. He has some broken arm, right? I mean,
Brittle fingers. Knuckles, brittle knuckles.
Right. So he can't really hit so hard that he can knock somebody out. Kani, he tires people, no? He tires up the opponents. And Pacquiao and Floyd is one of my favorite fights of all time.
Both are that was the first fight I saw. Newspaper lo chusan first time in mana Telugu newspaper.
I saw it.
I still remember the heading.
ఏంటది
2000 కోట్ల కొట్లాట is the heading of Telugu newspaper
Okay.
about the fight.
ఓకే
That is the single day most
Sporting event.
highest revenue generating sporting event in the history.
History of sports. Yeah.
Sports, not boxing, not
ఎగ్జాక్ట్లీ అర్థమైంది నాకు
one day lo they almost generated close to 2 billion.
2 billion
They both took 500 million.
out of one fight.
Yeah, the arena sold out for 40 million. That records can't be broke any close.
After fighters, what is your favorite boxing movie of all time?
I hardly watched the boxing movie.
Really?
I'm not into movies.
Okay.
Rocky Goda, only bits and pieces.
అవునా
My favorite
Harish watches as well.
Raging Bull
రైజింగ్ బుల్
and Bleed for This.
లీడ్ ఫర్ దిస్ ఇన్
I haven't seen this. This is the best comeback of all time.
ఓకే
That guy will meet an accident where he will break his neck.
then he return back to boxing.
He's a champion. He'll lose sometime, and then he'll in an accident he'll break his spine, not just the neck.
Yeah.
You could see Bleed for This movie. This is one of the best movies I psychological love, not for some technique or something.
Right.
Psychologically, how he came back and all. It's a real story of a fighter. He came back. He'll come back and he'll fight Roberto Duran and win.
This Vijay, he is choking out Mike Tyson man on ground. నాకు అస్సలు అర్థం కాలేదు వాట్స్ హ్యాపెనింగ్ ఓవర్ దేర్.
At the end of the day, movies are movies.
But yeah, the way he molded his body and
Yeah, he worked really hard.
yeah.
They
Chala
should also work with the good technical guys who are familiar with the sport. That is the main thing. That is how narration of the coaches and actors, dialogues or conversation, how to build up the story. They should have worked more with the guys who are familiar with the sports. Then it would have really worked well because he worked really hard.
Alright. So ఇప్పుడు బేసిక్ గా ఒక బాక్సింగ్ మ్యాచ్ జరగాలంటే దర్ ఇస్ అ లాట్ ఆఫ్ ప్రెప్ కదా, దర్ ఇస్ లాట్ ఆఫ్ ప్రిపరేషన్, లాట్ ఆఫ్ థింగ్స్ టు బి డన్. ఇప్పుడు స్టార్టింగ్ నుంచి ఆ ప్రాసెస్ ఎట్లా నడుస్తుంటది, లైక్ అంటిల్ ద మ్యాచ్ ఇస్ ఓవర్ అండ్ విన్నర్ టేక్స్ హిస్ మనీ హోమ్, అక్కడ వరకు ఏం జరుగుతుంది ఎగ్జాక్ట్?
Winner takes money కాదు, యాక్చువల్లీ how much they earn in boxing ముందే డిటర్మైన్ చేస్తారు. whether you win or lose, you will already get the money. This will determine how much you'll get paid for the next one.
Okay.
That is different in boxing. Winner doesn't take everything, or winner will not get a bigger split. It is already determined before the match.
In professional boxing, it is. In amateur, you have to go when tournaments win awali. You have medal. Hardly there is a commercial, financial element to it.
అమెచర్ లో గెలిస్తేనే ఎక్కువ లేదా?
But there is a progression to participate or represent your country. That's your amateur.
Okay.
Professional, though, you'll have your own. As it is, as a promoter, whatever the figures are put. So for your fight, let's say for per fight per fight you'll have like, let's say 10,000 rupees, for example. So that's about it. It just depends upon how experienced a fighter is.
సో బేసిక్లీ బాక్సింగ్ మ్యాచెస్, అమెచ్యూర్ మ్యాచెస్ కానీ ప్రో ఇవన్నీ కూడా ఇప్పుడు నేషనల్ లెవెల్లో మాట్లాడుకుంటే ఇవి స్పోర్ట్స్ సీజన్ లో జరుగుతుంటాయా, లైక్ సంబంధం లేదా?
సంబంధం ఏముండదు, త్రూఅవుట్ ద ఇయర్ జరుగుతుంది.
రైట్.
So these are all indoor sports. Nothing to do with cricket అంటే you'll have కొన్ని seasons ఉంటాయి. Otherwise all these indoor sports you happen throughout the year.
Okay. So as per Hyderabad మాట్లాడుకుంటే, so what are the boxing competitions right here which we can?
You have district competition, you have state, nationals. If it's happening in Hyderabad, Telangana, it happens in Hyderabad. Otherwise, most of it is all amateur.
Right.
And there are few pro boxing events happening, but very rare. One or two people do it, and there is no content. Some other new person want to come do it.
Right.
Same person doing it is not happening yet. But amateur because different associations ఉంటాయి. So you have state body, you have district body. So regularly they'll have to keep doing events, competitions. So to get to participate to if there is a national event, the state has to finish their selections. So someone who's selected in state will represent the state in nationals. The same way in nationals, someone who wants to represent the country, national competitions has to finish. Someone who comes first or second, they take them up into the pool where they compete for Asian Games, Commonwealth, Olympics. That's how it is.
Okay. So basically, these high-end matches, what we see in WBC and all these things, fight promoters, ఈ matchmaking అనేది ఎట్లా జరుగుతుంటది between two fighters?
Matchmaking is basically, it boils down to the economics.
Okay.
Economics. So why would a promoter invest money and put money onto some fighter? Is that if he's able to,
Bring people on.
The only way it can do is more viewers. Some fighter is exciting to watch. Some fighter is technically sound but is not exciting to watch. So there's no commercial value to it. So there is a lot of things. How you were talking about pre-fight, drama which happens. It all comes from the personality of the fighter.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it's not about the skill.
Right.
So it's a combination of everything by the end of the day, and how personality adds up. Marketability of a fighter also comes in. So all these aspects. So the promoter picks fights and make the match. Okay. So, and it's also promoter's part is also to build the career or a roadmap for that fighter. So what fights to take at what level of their journey, of experience, all that comes into play. Like I said, end of the day, it just boils down to the economics of the event or the whole fight itself.
Okay, so the board committees or whatever the regulatory bodies which you're talking about.
The councils they don't do the matchmaking. Promoters do the matchmaking.
Promoters, okay, all right.
So council, WBC, and any of these regulatory councils, they only regulate the rules and regulation. How a fight has to happen. What are the regulation pre-fight plenty tests you have to go through for dope tests, and then what kind of gloves, what kind of rules, how many rounds. All that is done by the council. So, but the rest of the promotion comes from a promoter, fight promoter. So that's how it is. They'll just give ranking. Like the councils, they say, with all the fights happening in the country, they'll make, okay, this guy is number 1 in the country in this weight class. So how they come up to it is by ranking the number of fights and the difficulty of the fight and how did the previous fight ended. Let's say this guy won 5 fights throughout, but all 5 fights went to distance.
Right.
Which means, let's say if it's a 6-round fight, all 5 went to 6 rounds.
Right.
But there's another fighter in the same weight class who won all the 5 fights, another 5 fights, but he have more knockouts. So then they have different parameters to check to see which fighter ranks. So they do the rankings.
Right.
So these fighters in across India, they plan. The goal is to climb the ladder to become the number 1. That's could be.
So I think that is it. So what do you think about the future of boxing in India? Support from the government or whatsoever? What are your thoughts on this?
Boxing future as in government has hardly got to do anything. I mean anything as in major part comes from Harish clearly said in India we don't, kids especially not more exposed to sports.
Right.
So that thing that's slowly changing. The mindset has to change. So there are a lot of schools still in Hyderabad without a sports ground. A lot of schools.
There are double-storied buildings named as schools.
A number of stories, but they definitely don't have a ground.
Yeah.
So that mindset is slowly changing. Now that parents are also looking at, there is no ground, they don't want to put them in that school. So that transition is happening, but only if there's a lot more, like Harish has mentioned, a lot more participants in that specific sport, the more talent you can weed out of it. The less participant, still you'll have a number one in that sport. Even with less participant, but less talented, less skilled.
Right.
The more the participant, the more they have.
The best comes out, man. Yeah.
Best comes out. That's how it just boils down to that. More kids into different sports, especially boxing, because boxing is already tagged as the poor man's sport. Because it's a
really?
Yeah, it's in India especially.
Okay.
Yeah, even abroad, you don't see any billionaires' son participating. Manny Pacquiao and Floyd, all these people have come out of the ghettos.
Right, yes.
So it is a poor man's sport. You see,
you don't see any champion who is
already a billionaire.
moderately earning. Why should
They all come from a
beat
poor
up?
background. Yeah.
Most of them more of the 99% of them are from a poor background.
Poor backgrounds.
Right now, actually, our women's team is doing really well.
Okay.
Indian women's team is doing really, really well.
Okay.
And we used to train with Nika Zarin, if you have heard of her.
Yeah, I heard of her. Yeah.
She used to train with Chiranjeev sir.
She used to train with us for 2-3 years.
We are all in the same training camp.
Right.
A few more people.
Around 2016, when she fought Mary Kom for selection, she lost. At that time only, one day this girl is going to become champion.
Right.
Took a very long time. She's very hardworking.
Right.
Even if you see her case also, she's come not from a very well.
No.
Every boxer is. But slowly that will change if
it will.
When more people start, now that a lot more people are coming in. Now if you see good kids from well-off families, well-settled families are also coming to learn boxing at BQ and other boxing gyms across. So it's a matter of time. So this government involvement is minimal, just to provide some infrastructure and stuff. But otherwise, the major transformation or change has to come from the parents and the society.
From the ground.
Yeah, for sure.
So, thank you so much. I have to tell this. There are quite a few things which I'm so much into it. Chala ishtam, and anytime I can talk about these things, be it filmmaking, traveling, and next coming to combat sports, boxing, and these things are very close to my heart. And someday, I'll definitely train. Manakunda ostanu, but I'm waiting for that day. I'll definitely do that. And thank you so much for coming onto the show, Harsha. Harish, thank you so much.
Yes.
Thank you. We'll do many more.
Yes.
Here we go. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.